All right, we've all been there, right? It's that last week of December. You're full of this energy, thinking January 1st, that's it. New year, new me. But let's be honest, how often does that feeling actually last? Usually, it kind of fizzles out. Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into the science of why that happens, and more importantly, how you can make changes that actually stick, not just for January, but all year round. So yeah, here's the million-dollar question. That incredible surge of motivation you feel on New Year's Day, where does it go? Seriously, it's like a magic trick. But here's the thing, it's not a personal failure, and you are definitely not alone in feeling this. There's a really powerful psychological reason for this whole cycle of hope and, well, disappointment, and we're going to unpack it together.
I love this quote from Royal Bloom because it just gets right to the heart of it. We put so much faith in a date on the calendar, like it has some kind of magical power. But real change, real transformation, that doesn't come from a new year. It comes from new actions. And that's the core idea we're going to be diving into.
So why does January 1st feel so special? What is it about that specific moment that gives us this intense urge to completely reinvent ourselves? Well, let's get into the fascinating psychology that's at play here.
It actually has a name. It's called the fresh start effect. Researchers have found that these big-time boundaries, a new year, a birthday, even just the start of a new week on Monday, they let our brains create this mental wall. It's a wall between our past self and the future self we're dreaming of. It really is like hitting a reset button, and it gives us this permission slip to let go of old habits and start fresh. The trick is learning how to harness this effect and make it work for us.
And here's where our brains play a little trick on us, and it's kind of cruel, honestly. Just the act of planning to change gives your brain a tiny reward, a little hit of dopamine. So you feel a sense of accomplishment before you've even done anything. But here's the catch. That feeling is super temporary. Once all the excitement of planning wears off, reality kicks in. And that's the moment when most resolutions start to fade. You know that temporary high from just planning? Well, it sets the stage for the crash. And this leads us right into why resolutions fail so often. And I want to be really clear here. This isn't about being weak-willed or lazy. The problem isn't the person, it's the structure of the goal itself. Most resolutions are kind of built on a foundation that's just destined to crumble. So let's just quickly break down these traps. First off, our goals are way too big and vague. So our brain just gets overwhelmed and goes, nope, not today. Second, we rely on willpower, but willpower is a finite resource. It runs out. Third, we totally ignore the fact that we need some kind of immediate emotional reward to help wire in a new habit. And finally, we set goals based on what we think we should do, not who we actually want to become. Okay, so how do we escape these traps? It's time to completely flip the script. Instead of setting these fragile resolutions, what we need to do is build a robust system for change. Let's walk through the 4 rules that make all the difference. Rule number 1 is a big one. You've got to replace vague goals with super specific actions. This slide just lays it out perfectly. It shows the difference between a confused mind and a clear path. Don't promise yourself you'll become fit. That's huge. Instead, promise yourself you will walk for 15 minutes every single day. Your brain can actually handle that. It's clear, it's achievable, and it totally removes the overwhelm. Okay, rule number 2. We're swapping out willpower for a system. Look, willpower is like a battery. It's unreliable, especially when you're tired or stressed out. A system, on the other hand, is the routine that basically automates your goal. Blocking a specific time for exercise isn't about forcing yourself, it's about making it an automatic part of your day. A good system does the heavy lifting so your willpower doesn't have to. And this slide right here shows exactly why systems work so well. Your brain doesn't build habits based on how big or intense something is. It builds them through repetition. A tiny 2-minute action that you do every single day creates a much stronger neural pathway than one heroic 2-hour effort that you only manage once a week. Consistency really is the engine of change. Now this brings us to what might be the most powerful rule of all, shifting from pressure-driven goals to identity-driven goals. You know those goals that start with "I should"? They're usually fueled by outside pressure, and they almost never stick. But when a goal comes from "I want to become someone who," that's different. That's anchored to your identity. Every small action you take isn't just a task to check off a list. It's a vote for the person you are becoming. All right, so we have the rules. Now let's get practical. How does this system actually work in the real world? Because this isn't just theory, This stuff has practical applications that can immediately start changing your daily routines for the better.
Just look at these examples. They're tiny, right? Almost ridiculously small, but each one is an incredibly powerful system. Planning your next day in the last 2 minutes of work, that eliminates all that morning decision fatigue. Previewing a topic for 5 minutes before class primes your brain, which makes the actual lecture way easier to absorb. Preparing your clothes the night before, that automates success for your morning routine. See, these small, systematic actions reduce the mental effort needed to make good choices. So what small system can you create today? And the payoff for these small wins is huge. Seriously, this isn't just about getting more done. This is about quieting that voice in your head that loves to procrastinate. It's about building real, earned confidence with every single tiny victory. You're not just clearing off a to-do list. You're freeing up precious mental energy, that cognitive load, for the things that actually matter. You're building unstoppable momentum. So if you remember one thing from all this, let it be this: stop focusing on the calendar. The objective was never a new year. The real goal, the true prize, is to build a new system. A system that supports the person you want to become day in and day out all year long.
So I just leave you with this question. Forget about the grand, sweeping resolutions for next year. What is one tiny, specific action you can take today that aligns with the identity you want to build? Because that's where real change begins. The power is right there, in your hands.